She's invented death panels, endorsed birthers, now the new jewel in Sarah Palin's ultra-conservative crown, warning us of climate junk science. Our number 2 story on the countdown, as Palin ramps up the rhetoric against a former vice president, she contradicts a former governor, Sarah Palin. First came her Washington Post op-ed on ClimateGate, hanging anti-climate change rhetoric on a slew of hacked emails. Then came Al Gore's rebuttal.
It's not a question of debate. It's like gravity. It exists.
Ms. Palin backed away from the idea of actually debating Gore, choosing instead to fire up the old Facebook account and send a figurative reply all to him. Perhaps he's right. Climate change is like gravity, a naturally occurring phenomenon that existed long before and will exist long after any governmental attempts to affect it. However, he's wrong in calling me a denier. I have never denied the existence of climate change. I just don't think we can primarily blame man's activities for the Earth's cyclical weather changes. Vice President Gore, the ClimateGate scandal exists. You might even say that it's sort of like gravity. You simply can't deny it. Another thing that Palin simply can't deny, her own record. As governor, she launched a state office on climate change, which she cited in her op-ed, but called for legislation to regulate greenhouse gas emissions and reduce Alaska's carbon footprint. And in a 2008 New York Times op-ed, Palin used decidedly less partisan rhetoric when opposing the Endangered Species Act. What is justified is worldwide concern over the proven effects of climate change. Americans should become involved by offering suggestions for constructive action to their state governments. As for blogger Palin's denial that climate change is brought on by man, candidate Palin told Katie Couric something different.
There are man's activities that can be contributed to the issues that we're dealing with now, but kind of doesn't matter at this point as we debate what caused it. The point is, it's real. We need to do something about it.
It's real. Joining me now is MSNBC political analyst and the national affairs columnist for Newsweek, Jonathan Alter. Good evening, Jonathan.
Hi, Lawrence.
So we have discovered yet another issue in which she has flip-flopped. This is kind of a Mitt Romney type thing where he flip-flopped when he was governor to when he was a presidential candidate on issues like abortion and gay rights. If she's going to be a candidate, isn't she going to have to come to terms with her own record on climate change?
You know, I don't think that her supporters will care if she flip-flopped or was a hypocrite or whatever. Her bigger problem, if she wants to be a candidate, is that she's on the wrong side of history. She's on the wrong side of science. She's on the wrong side of politics here. There's a very, very small number of people who are mouthing what she is these days. The majority are where she was during the 2008 campaign. And if she actually wanted to have a chance of being president, she should take a more moderate view. For her to call for boycotting Copenhagen and the Washington Post, for the world not trying to get together and do something about climate change it's just almost pathetically irresponsible.
But this seems to be a new step, Jonathan, trying to write something that is publishable by the Washington Post as opposed to just something posted on Facebook. She's trying to take a serious position or get a serious hearing in a possible campaign policy issue, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. And she is a former vice presidential candidate and, you know, deserves to have that forum if she wants to use it. But I was just really struck by not just the fact that she had changed positions, but that she is actually now saying that because of this scandal, and it was a kind of a scandalous thing, but that somehow that discredits the hundreds of other scientists who have been working on that discredits all the progress that the world has made on beginning to confront this issue because she wants to flog this scandal to score some political points. It's beneath even her.
But not beneath the Washington Post to publish it, which is, I think, indicates that she's got some political advisors around her now, doesn't it, that know how to position her to get these kinds of articles taken seriously by a newspaper like the Washington Post.
Well, first of all, it's fine that the Washington Post published it. That's why they call it op-ed. It's not supposed to be, you know, articles that you necessarily agree with, and she certainly has the standing to have an article published on the op-ed page of the Washington Post. But you're right that the article felt like it had been massaged by political handlers, but they seem to have been, you know, James Inhofe's handlers, because it's got, even though she claims it's not climate change denial, everything about the column reeks of climate change denial, and I think it's just important. I'd love to see her debate Al Gore or have some sort of a confrontation with him. And maybe if she doesn't want to do that, maybe some people could send out those chickens that they used to send out, debates people dressed as a chicken, if she refuses to debate Gore. Because if she's going to take this position now, she should be forced to defend it herself, not by having some hack put together a column in the Washington Post.
I think we're going to be waiting a long time for the Palin-Gore debate. Jonathan Alter of Newsweek and MSNBC, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks, Lawrence.